welcome to Profile Pod TV. I am your host, Double A Win. We are back for another spectacular episode of the pod. So excited, as usual, to be here with all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in, however you're tuning in from. If you're on YouTube, thank you so much. If you're listening on the audio platforms, thank you. A million thanks to you. Can't thank you enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I say it every week, but you know what? I mean it from the bottom of my heart, because without an audience, there's nothing, right? We have nothing. So again, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. If you want to show support, that's one way you can show support, is to subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the Profile Pod TV. Click on that little red button, or purple button, I should say, at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and it's all good. Leave us a rate and review on Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. Follow me on Instagram, interact. Tell me how much you hate me, love me. I don't care, whatever. I just want you to interact. I love feedback from the audience, and it's always fun to do that. So seriously, yeah, hit me up on DM if you want to be on this podcast. If you think you're doing something inspirational, motivational, to inspire the human spirit, then hit me up on Instagram, shoot me a DM at profilepodtv_. You guys know the deal. So I love bringing on individuals who are doing just that, doing inspirational things. And tonight we have someone who's doing just that. This gentleman has traveled the world. He's a performer, and he's a man after my own heart, because I love to perform. I love doing the podcast. I love to be an entertainer, and he's done it on a grand scale, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you that. He's worked for Britney Spears. He's worked with Pink, among others. And like I said, he's been everywhere. He's here to tell us a little bit of his story, give us a glimpse of who he is. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome Mr. Nico O'Connor. How are you, sir?
I'm great.
Oh yeah, cue the sound effect there, Nico. Hey man, thank you so much for being here, taking the time. I know you're a busy person, you're a busy man. How's everything going today? I know you're in Los Angeles. What's going on down there?
Angeles, yeah, things are great. I had a workout this morning, hung out with some friends, went to the pool. I can't complain. Like things are definitely looking up and opening up as people get their vaccines. So I can say I'm definitely in good spirits for the reopening of LA and industry here in LA. Yeah.
Isn't it great? Yeah, I'm here in Southern California as well, and I'm feeling the vibes as well, Nico. Things are starting to get back to normal. Things are opening up, and yeah, I can't emphasize it enough how good that feels. And you're in Southern California when you're at the pool in late March, right?
I was gonna say it reached like 87 or 88, and I was like, it's only like spring, but we're in like this like in between where like next week it's gonna go down to the 70s again, and it's gonna pop up again. But like, could you imagine our summer is gonna be probably insane? But I can't complain because Vegas is probably gonna be even worse. So that's why I'm like, California, we're spoiled. Like, it's good weather out here, and that's why we pray. We pray, and we pay.
Yeah.
What we do.
Yeah, no doubt, Nico. No doubt. It's yeah, you summed it up, man. It's gonna be quite the scene this summer, man, because people have been cooped up, and it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be hopefully everybody stays safe. But
Safe and healthy, yeah.
right, exactly. That's number one, of course. And speaking of California, you are from Northern California. You grew up in Northern California, correct?
I did. I grew up. Um, I was born in Redwood City, California, but grew up in San Bruno, South San Francisco. That was my whole like elementary school kind of life, and then went to it was like my parents knew that once I had changed to school, they would move us. So once I finished elementary school, we had landed in San Mateo, that's where my mom and dad were kind of working. So San Mateo, and then from San Mateo, they actually were saving to buy a house in Antioch. And then when I was finally in high school, like we were living in Antioch, and that was like the end of my journey with my parents. But then I moved myself to Concord before moving to LA. So I was kind of like bouncing around, but my parents were always like, let's let them finish school, save up, let's move somewhere else. And then they finally got like their dream house in Antioch.
Gotcha. Yeah.
East Bay. Yeah.
East Bay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm familiar with all those cities, man. Nico, and I'm getting ahead of myself. Can you do me a favor, man? Let's back up just a little bit.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about what you do now. Just a little snapshot of who Nico O'Connor is, man.
Okay. Well, Nico O'Connor now is a dancer, a choreographer, a dance teacher. Like I really pride myself on like being a really great dance instructor. But I'm also a creator, a performer. I feel like I've been a host of shows. Like I like to be on the mic. I like to be like a comedian at times, but like I still haven't honed in on that. But I love that. I love to sing, but I don't have the skills to. So I'm just like an artist all around that like will dive in to be like maybe this like personality later in life once I can't do the dancing. You know what I'm saying? But I love to perform. I've been doing it since I was a child, and that's what I moved to LA for. So I'm now a choreographer and a dance instructor in LA professionally. That's what I do.
Bam, I appreciate it. And forgive me, I forgot to mention that choreographer slash dance instructor piece in the intro. Forgive me.
Horrible interviewer. You're just like the worst.
Oh my God, I'm doing the best I can, Nico.
You're fine.
I'm just kidding. No, but going back to Northern California, right? Now, were you a dancer since day one, or is that something that you discovered later on in life?
No, I wasn't. It was like maybe when I was 16 that I was like freestyling in my room, and it was literally to probably like Christina Aguilera. Maybe I wasn't thinking like I wanted to be the dancer. Maybe I was thinking I was like I wanted to be Christina Aguilera, but I was having the best time living in my bedroom and just enjoying the music, enjoying the movement, trying to replicate that feeling that comes from like I don't know, like being in a music video, being in a production. That's what like made me feel excited. Like I was like, I got to get ready for this like performance. And what was funny was like I was like always dancing in my room when I was like 16, and then all of a sudden my dad or mom would walk in, and I'd be like, "Holy shit! Like what?" And I'd be so embarrassed. And come to find out later in life, like I was like, that's what's gonna be my moneymaker. That's what made me money. That's what like drove me. But I was so embarrassed to be like wanting to be a part of that culture of like music videos and dance and like
Uh-huh.
performance, that fucking drove me and that made me excited. That fucking like lit a fire in me. And I love that.
Yeah, yeah. So,
At the age of 16, that's what like I realized I was like, this is something.
wow. Okay, so, but not like when you were a school age kid, young kid, 7, 8, 9, 10. d- Dancing wasn't a part of your life in any way.
I had no idea. I had no idea what was gonna happen. I was just listening. Well, no, I was a troublemaker. I wasn't listening to my parents. Uh, but music was always around. Music was always around, and my grandma let me watch a lot of MTV when I came home from school. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and who were some of those early influences, Nico? Watching MTV, right? Who were some of those performers, dancers, musicians that really inspired you back then?
Literally, I have a list. It's like Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, Mariah Carey. It's All for One. I don't know if people know All for One. Color Me Bad. Like, oh
Oh
my,
yeah.
so good. Um, just like fun ass R&B mixed with hip hop music. Um, but I definitely remember watching musicals too. Like Little Shop of Horrors was like my jam. And so between music, oh, Paula Abdul, oof, Paula Abdul, Michael Jackson. Like
Mm,
I grew up in that era where music was so rich and the visual behind it was so powerful and made you want to listen to the music because the visual was so powerful behind it. But I don't know if people nowadays realize like when you have a powerful visual behind your music, it can drive people to want to listen to your music, you know? Because that's the power of marketing
yeah.
and just like the visuals behind it. It might be a shitty song, but like if you have a visual behind it, people are gonna want to like listen to it because you're like they feel what they saw, you know. So that was me at a young age watching it and wanting to be a part of it and literally trying to learn. Like I was studying and I didn't even know that I was studying the movement and I was like I can do that and then trying to replicate it at a young age too.
Wow. Well, yeah, no doubt, man. Yeah, imagery and energy are super
Yes. Ooh,
critical,
I want imagery and energy. I love that.
right? And marketing that's huge, man. And you, you're you hit it right on the head for me, Nico, because I grew up in that same. Well, I'm probably a little bit older than you are, but man,
I don't think so. Try me. Try me.
I was born in '76.
Okay, you are.
So see, but I grew up in
You're 6 years older than me. And that's fine.
my wheelhouse is the '80s and the '90s, man. So I grew up to all of that, man, all of that too. And
Music was so good back then. It was
oh,
so rich and so different. And I don't know. It was just like it was a different time. It's not. It's not. It's different. And I'm not gonna knock what music is today, because today it's rich to the people that
right,
exist now. You know. But back then, and maybe we sound like old people, but it just felt so much more pure and so much more authentic, and it was coming from like a real rich place of like pure goodness. You know, it's just like fuck. It was like, oh, this is so good, you know? I don't
yeah,
feel like that much, but maybe it's just like because I'm not from this era. So,
no doubt, man. It was definitely about the art. It was definitely about the just in its purest form, right? I think
yes.
the performers were all about the music, the just the art, the artistic value, man. And I don't know, maybe we've lost a little bit of that, but it's just different now. Maybe we're older, Nico. I don't know, man. I don't know.
No, I appreciate when I grew up and what I experienced with music because it was to me, I love that era so much. Like the 80s, 90s. I just like I'm like bow down and I still listen to that shit today. Like I'm just like
Oh,
that's what makes me move. And sometimes I go back to it because I'm like, this is what makes me want to dance. Like this is what I grew up with and I want to create to it too. Mhm.
yeah. Every day, Nico. I listen to it, man. Someone. It could be Duran Duran. It could be, the Smiths, The Cure, U2, Prince, Michael Jackson. I mean, someone from that era, '80s,
Like
'90s.
you love you some Lisa too.
Oh, Lisa Lee and Colt, yeah, Lisa and Colt Jam. You know, I wonder if you take me home. All those songs, man.
Oh, so good, so
Can
good.
you feel the beat within my heart?
Oh God, the
Right?
yeah, so good,
I
so good.
mean, Keith Sweat. I mean, yeah, it just
Oh,
goes on like that. We were spoiled, Nico. We were spoiled, man.
we were spoiled. We were spoiled. They don't
Yeah,
understand. They don't understand.
yeah, no doubt, man, no doubt. So, Nico, when you were, going back to when you were 16 and stuff, and you said, "Wow, this is awesome." This dance, this stuff is this performing stuff is. I can see myself doing this. Did you find that you had a natural talent or natural ability to dance, or was it something that you kind of worked at it, or I mean, did he just and you just had it right away? How did that happen?
Well, I knew I loved to dance, but once I started maybe training, I felt like I did have a natural ability to grasp like choreography or retain movement in a syncopated rhythm, like in order. So I was like, okay, there's something in me that I'm like, I have this skill set where I can remember choreography. And I remember my mom telling me like, oh, I used to try to make up like choreography in my mind, like to music. And I was like, well, then I probably got it from you, and you never really, because a lot of my family like loved music, but they don't never did anything like with that. Like they all just had like regular human jobs.
Yeah, right.
It's called like 9 to 5. I'm like, oh, you're a regular human. But
Right.
I feel like some of my gift, my skill set, I do get from my mom because she knows that she's like, yes, I always wanted to create and like dance to music, and maybe you got some of that. But yeah, definitely when I started learning and training in classes, I was like, there's something in me that I think that this comes natural. It comes natural. And so I was like, yes, this is a skill set that I can train on and get better with. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt, man. I know growing up, I was trying to, you know, breakdance, and breakdance is a whole different thing. But I mean, I
Well,
think
I learned a little bit of breakdancing because I did Culture Shock Oakland, and
okay,
so we learned a bunch of fundamentals. So I didn't know some moves, a little CC, a little like crab walk, situation, a little flare, and I know all the like, and I respect it so much because it's such a awesome like thing to have within the hip hop and hip hop dance. So yeah, I do have so much respect for that. But yeah, like I had to learn a little bit of breakdance elements as well.
yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt, man. So you know, you're 16, 17. Let's talk about a little bit about your journey coming down to Los Angeles. You know, what kind of sparked that? What kind of inspired that for you? When did you say, you know what, I'm going to move to LA? Or what was your thought process at that moment, at that point in your life? Talk about that, man. Talk about that decision to move to LA and pursue your dreams and that stuff and that sort of stuff.
Okay, so I was dancing with maybe like a crew at the time in Vallejo called Impact. I, yeah, in Vallejo with Greg Chapkus. He's like a Russian guy that opened a studio over there. But I had friends, two of my friends, Angela Henderson and Giancarlo, and maybe maybe it was just me, or me and Angela had come down previously to maybe take some dance classes in LA and or also audition. I ended up getting an agent maybe like in 2005, and then we were friends in the Bay Area. I had to go back because my life is there, my work is there, and I'm like trying to go to school, whatnot. And then I was like, yeah, I got an agent, and they were like talking about like, yo, maybe we should all move down. I was like, yeah, sure, but I was like, whatever, it's not gonna happen. 2006 comes along, and Angela and Giancarlo are like, we're moving, we're going, and I was like, oh shit, I have a full-time job in the county for public health in Martinez. I'm living in Concord with two other roommates, and like I'm like, do I want to live in LA and pursue that? I was like, this is my chance because two of my friends are going, and I can like literally get help, and like I don't have to be on my own.
Yeah.
So we made this decision to like move together, two Latino guys and one Black girl, and we were like, let's do it. And I lived in in the living room, sharing a living room on a couch with someone else on a cot for probably the first year and a half, and now I'm in my own place. But like that just goes to show like the journey of it. You know, it's like wanting to be here. First of all, getting an agent, maybe coming, but then having your friends decide that they want to go, and I'm like, I'm going with y'all, and we did it, and I never looked back. My parents were like, if it doesn't work out for you, then come back and go to school full time. And I was like, okay. And I never looked back. I was like, this is it for me. This is where I belong, and I'm not gonna stop until I I make this like a full time gig.
Wow. Well, so you were working for the county. You had a full-time job, 9 to 5. You're a regular human, as you said,
Regular human.
right? So you were settled. You were living in Concord. It sounds like you were pretty settled down. I mean, you had things.
I could have definitely like continued and like stayed there and settled and work a desk job, because like I was a clerk for like public health nursing and just making packets that they would send out to new moms that had like newborn babies, and they were low income and they were like minorities. My mom was a she was was it called? She spoke Spanish to the interpreter. She was an interpreter,
Oh,
and she got me the. She always hooked me up all my life. She was like, "You get a job here. You get a job here."
oh,
She's always looking out for me, like, because I worked for her at a coffee shop back in middle school, at the coffee shop in San Mateo. But then once I got out of high school, she hooked me up with a job in the county for public health as a clerk. So I was just like helping out in the public health nursing. But then I got my own job as an administrative assistant for healthcare for the homeless in that same kind of, you know, system,
department.
public health system. And I drove the
Okay.
van for healthcare for the homeless. And I was like making like appointments and like helping out patients. And I was like, dude, this is great, but this is not my passion.
Yeah.
So then that's why like, yeah, I was definitely I had it good, but it wasn't what I wanted in the Bay for sure.
No, I get it, man. I get it. You decided to, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot, and you did it, man. And a lot of people, they hold back. They're for whatever reason, their fear, uh, whatever, man. They don't have confidence. When you decided to move down to LA, uh, what was your goal? What was your main goal, like, at that moment?
I just wanted to dance in music videos. I wanted to be a part of the magic that I saw in the music videos that inspired me, you know? I wanted to be a part of like the work and the training and like everything in the background and like the rehearsals. I wanted to be a part of all of that. It's just like something that like about putting on, either making a music video or making a stage show, that just I was like, that's something in that is drawing me and calling my name, that I'm like, I want to be a part of that.
Wow, man. And now looking back, I mean, what's that feel like, looking back and thinking, do you ever wonder, imagine if I had never taken this leap, what would life be like for yourself? You ever ponder that?
All the time. I give total credit to my parents, because they were so willing to let me go. You know, a lot of parents might stifle their children's decision to do what they want. And for me, like, they've been so open to every single thing and just loving and caring. And I couldn't ask for better parents. Like, they're the best. And because of them, I'm here. They let me go with the most like love. They gave me $200 a month, and I was like, great, okay, I have to make the rest. But then after like 3 years, I was like, I'm on my own. But they literally were like helping me out while I was out here. So I I, I can't thank them enough. And also like I just yeah, when I think back of like what I wanted to do before I came here, and now I'm like kind of like living my dream, because in my mind I'm like, it's all perspective, right? It's like I'm here when people wish they were here, and I'm like, I'm teaching at like the major studios and I get to like choreograph and work with artists and do all this stuff. I'm like, maybe it's not as big as I want it to be, but at the same time, like I'm still living my dream. I'm working as a dancer and choreographer as a living. So I can't complain. Like that was the dream. And I'm doing it in a level where I feel like it's respectable and I'm like, okay, we're gonna get up there. But right now, I should kind of be grateful that I'm at the level I am too.
No doubt, Nico. Yeah, man, good for you, man. Good for you. And yeah, shout out to your parents for being supportive and loving. And like you said, like, a lot of parents like stifle, like you said, or hold you back or hold their kid back because of whatever. Hey, keep the safe route. You have a job, you have a 9 to 5, you have security or whatever. But yeah, hey, it all worked out. So when you first came to LA, where did you live? And uh, how long did it take you to get your first gig as a dancer?
Well, I immediately we moved to North Hollywood, which is
Mhm,
like more like cheaper route of like LA. It's like in the
mhm.
valley, and
Yeah.
I'm still in North Hollywood. And I'm literally, oh my God, this is kind of crazy. I literally live my own place, right? But I literally live two apartments, two like complexes apart from my first apartment.
Oh, really?
Crazy. Um,
uh,
yeah. Um, but how long did it take to get my first gig?
yeah.
It depends what you mean gig because I started doing maybe like bar mitzvahs or and bat mitzvahs with like a DJ. So I used to get on Craigslist. I was like, maybe I'm not gonna just like get a big gig, but then I started like getting on Craigslist and there's like little gigs you can do. Um, and so I started working for this DJ and we would do like parties for like bat mitzvahs and bar mitzvahs and that was like my gig on the weekend. But the first job I had out here, my friend from the Bay Area moved out here as well, and he was a manager for Forever 21 at the
Mhm.
Beverly Center, and
Oh,
I got
yeah.
a job at XXI, and I was like, "There's main store," so I was working at the Beverly Center, and I remember getting off in Beverly Center and be like, "Oh my God, I'm living in LA," and I would like smoke a cigarette, and I was like, "Oh, I'm in LA." This was like fucking what 15 years ago. So I was like a little kid, and I was just like, "Oh, I'm living my life," and
Yeah.
I was so happy, even though I didn't I wasn't where I wanted to be, but I was here. And
Yeah.
that made me excited that I was where I was gonna grow my career, you know. So I started in retail. I started in retail and eventually got into like dance.
Yeah. Yeah. But what was uh, the first gig maybe where it was, I mean, it was a higher level gig, maybe for someone, an artist, or maybe a well-known artist, or just just where you said, okay, this is a solid professional dance gig. Now I feel good about this. Not that you did it with the bar mitzvahs and all that, but just
Yeah.
higher level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did some professional production stuff, but like the artist,
Hmm.
like there's this artist called Steffi Ray where I was like an extra in, and then there was like this alternative group where like some of us like were in Universal Studios. They're just like small things. I was never like a lead. There's this group called NLT. We were in the music video all day long. People had to get in the swimming pool.
Hmm.
So NLT, and then I danced back up for like what's the name? The two girls. I'm a rock star. Prima J. I danced back up for Prima J. Um, but my main thing was trying to get like a teaching gig. So I think my big come up was when I finally started teaching at Millennium Dance
Oh,
Company. Yeah.
oh, okay. And when you're still there, right?
Well, they've been closed for a while, but
Oh,
I'm coming back in April for sure. Yeah, I have a slot again on the weekends. Yeah.
okay, good, good. Yeah, yeah. So, oh my goodness. So, you at that point when did you talk a little bit about? Was there ever a moment, or maybe moments, where you felt like, this is just isn't working out? I don't know about this. Maybe I should head home. And if you did, how did you what did you do to overcome those thoughts and to push forward?
Yeah, that there's definitely a dark time. Um, 25, I want to say, I went through like a really bad like depression, which I didn't even know was depression at the time. Um, I just felt like something was wrong with me, and I hadn't dealt with certain things. Now looking back, I want to say like I had suppressed the feeling of like, oh, I'm here by myself. I'm all on my own. This is all on me. And I put that pressure on myself. Like if I fuck up, it's all my fault. Like I chose to be here and I have no one in LA to help me out. I luckily like okay, I'm only a drive away to California, which is more what you can say for other people that move here, you know. So
Yeah,
in that aspect, I am like I'm lucky, you know, but I was still I'm that kind of person that tries to handle it on my own before like asking for help.
yeah,
Definitely 25 years old, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Is this gonna work out? This I don't know.
mhm,
Um I definitely went home for a bit. My mom was like, go see a doctor. And yeah, they said I was like depressed. They try to put me on like medication, and I was like, I don't know if I want to take this. My mom was like, you don't have to. You don't have to. If you don't want to, don't take it. I didn't take it. I decided to like ride it out. You know, either it was like exercise, meant just like try to like fix my life on my own, basically without medicine, change my
uh-huh,
diet, whatever. But eventually, I got out of that hole, and I'm just grateful that I. And some people need it. Some people need medication, but yes,
mhm.
that was a rough time because in your mid 20s and you're on your own, and you're in this industry where like you always question yourself, am I good enough, you know? So that was definitely a rough time, but yeah, we made it out and we became better and we grew from it and we learned from it.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I'm glad you stuck it out. You were persistent. You were positive. I mean, you leaned on your parents for the
Yeah,
support system, and like you said, you weren't too far away from home. You're, a hour flight, and then four or
very,
5 hour
really close. Like
drive.
some people can't take that hour flight or like drive 4.5 hours back home. So I was like, if I ever needed them, I know that they'd be there and they're always gonna welcome me. So
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Um, so fast forward a little bit, Nico. Tell us about your experience with dancing backup for Pink at the American Music Awards in 2010. 2010, that must have been something for yourself. I think at that point you were 5 years into your journey here in LA, right? About 5 or 6 years.
yeah,
Talk about that a little bit.
that was like one of my highlights for sure. And I got to do that with like one of my best friends that I had. I was a work study at Millennium on the front desk, so I would work to get free classes. And my one of my friends, I had no idea, but like literally, I got that job off of Twitter.
Really?
The choreographer Hi Hat, which is like a really amazing choreographer, well known, so famous, worked with Missy Elliott on like creating that whole like vibe that Missy has. So Hi Hat was looking for like dancers, and she was just like, send me your headshots. I was like, I sent her my headshot. She's like, you're booked, you got it. And then they went through my agency, and then I come to find out, I went to rehearsal. I was like, bitch, like my best one of my good friends is here too. And yeah, he said that he got the call from his agent. I was like, really? Because I just sent in my shit straight to the choreographer. So I got that gig from Twitter through Hi Hat, and she hired me. And then we didn't have to learn any choreography. It was like you come out at the end of the performance and you dance. And I just felt like, oh, this is it. Like, this is what I want more of. Unfortunately, that was my only award show performance that I did. I wish I could say I've done more, but it was very magical because I got to see some people do their sound checks. I got to see Katy Perry do her sound check. I got to see what's her name? It's now or never. I ain't gonna live forever.
Oh my gosh.
What's her name? I'm just gonna live one
Oh,
life.
that's is that Bon Jovi?
Bon Jovi.
Oh,
Bon
okay.
Jovi was performing that, and I got to sit in like the second row after our tech and was like watching Bon Jovi do his tech, and I was like, I love this song. I love them band. I mean, it was so crazy. Now Katy Perry was another thing because I was like, she's kind of crazy. But no, Pink is a professional. She was pregnant at the time and sang her ass off. She had to like come down from this high like platform and came down in front of the dancers, and she just wanted an eclectic group of like people, drag queens, and all kind of minorities dancing around her. She had like a skateboard and cheerleaders doing flips. Like, she had the most.
Yeah, I saw
I
it.
remember her being super professional and super talented, and was like, "Let's do this." And she was pregnant at the time. I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Like, go off, bitch.
Wow. So with that performance and that gig, right, for yourself, did that kind of catapult you or propel you to another level, or to did you book more gigs based off of that?
I don't think so. I was like super young still, and I was just like, okay, well, what's next? And I would literally just wait for the the next audition. You know, it's just like, what's next? And I would wait to for my agency to send me to a certain audition. But now knowing that, I'm like, I could have made my own career just like on my own. Like, you just if they don't send you to it or give it to you, then you just gotta create it on your own.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. You have to make stuff happen, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely a hustle, right?
Oh, you gotta grind, and that's something that the girl that I moved to LA with, like, she was always hustling and grinding and doing gigs in the Bay Area, and she was like, "Yeah, you just gotta look for it or like just make it happen." And I was like, "Okay, bitch, let's make it happen." So I've kind of always been surrounded by that hustle grind mentality, and I'm like, I kind of realized like, yeah, you got to make it happen on your own.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Yeah, you always see the movies, right? It's almost in the movies, right? For the dancer, the struggling dancer who, I mean, you see, for example, Showgirls or Burlesque with Christina Aguilera, and in other movies, right? And then you always, it's that typical, Hollywood, rags to riches story where the dancer comes up and just ends up propelling and catapulting to stardom. I've always been fascinated with that facet of dancing. Like yeah, it's a physical. You're actually obviously you're moving, you're dancing, I mean, it is wow. I am like just
It's mental, it's
impressed.
physical, it's emotional.
Hmm.
It like takes a lot out of you, but it's definitely the passion behind it that drives you. And I feel like a lot of people that make it remind themselves constantly of like why they started, because they love what they do, and they also feel like not a lot of people can do what they do, you know? So it's definitely a competitive field, but
Yes.
what you can get out of it is like an amazing life because you do what you love and you're getting paid for it. So
No doubt, Nico. And you know, I was watching this documentary about Michael Jackson. It was probably the most recent documentary made on him, and it was documenting his last uh, tour before he passed. And they were auditioning these dancers. I mean, these guys were incredible dancers, you know. And I'm like, wow, every single one of them looked like they could be the one, you know, be hired to work for Michael Jackson. But they were kind of giving insight and commentary on those dancers, on those auditions, and I was just fascinated, man. Like these guys, you have to bring it. You know, you have to bring it. You have to exude the it factor, right? Or else you're not going to get a job, man. But I was just like, it's competitive at a level that I mean, it's just I can't even fathom the competition, man. It's amazing, you know. And and kudos to you, man. I mean, that's
it's like
super
you
impressive.
gotta put yourself in mindset. It's like this is
I'm sorry.
this is what's gonna put like this. Oh, we're kind of like choppy up. But I'm like, you gotta put yourself in mindset when you go to these auditions of like, this is my bread on the table. Like this is what's gonna make me money for the rent. This is the end all be all. So I gotta go all in for this. Otherwise, there's no money for groceries. There's no money for rent. Like, and so it's like this do or die mentality of like, I'm gonna go harder than you. And no, I'm gonna do this harder than you. So it's very competitive when you go to these auditions back in the day. Who knows how it's gonna be going forward? But
Hmm.
it was very much this like, oh, I'm coming for you and I'm gonna get this. And I think that's what you had to go in there like thinking. Otherwise,
Yes.
you'd be defeated. You know, this
So
is the best of the best in LA. Like you come to LA to fight against the best, and you better be trained and prepared for that. And then I also love that. That it's what pushed me to be better. So it's like you come here in LA, you better be ready for it because it's
yeah,
a whole mind game too.
absolutely, Nico. Absolutely. No, I just that I mean, you have all these talented individuals in one room, you know, and everybody's just pushing each other
Oh,
levels of just it's that's incredible, man. Yeah, yeah, because everybody's doing this. Everybody has that mindset, right? I'm getting this gig. I have to eat. I have to feed myself. I have to pay my rent, like you said. So yeah, wow, yeah, it's an
yeah.
interesting
The
world. Interesting.
energy in those auditions are like it's incredible. It's like something I don't know. It's just it's so crazy. Like the world, like this like dance world goes through to like get a job.
Yeah, yeah, right. And so speaking of auditioning, Nico, I'm sure you've auditioned individuals yourself. And so two questions. What do you look for in a dancer when they're auditioning? And what makes, I mean, it's kind of a hand-in-hand question. And what makes a great dancer? Not a good dancer, what makes a great dancer?
Okay, well, what makes a great dancer is like authenticity, individuality, their passion, and a self-awareness, like a sense of self and how they own their own body. Styles are gonna always gonna be different, so I can't say too much in that realm about like musicality and cleanliness because sometimes their style might be a little bit loose and not it doesn't have to be so clean, but they're exuding such passion and individuality that we're drawn to that, right? Because we're like,
Mhm.
oh, this is different and it looks so cool. So it's that like it factor that we can't explain unless we see.
Mhm.
But when I audition people, I want to see confidence. I want to see cleanliness. I want to see that they have stamina, you know, that they can keep up and that they're healthy enough to like keep going because you're gonna dance on stage. So do you have that stamina and keep that
Yeah.
energy, you know? Um, and musicality, do they have an ear for the timing that I'm giving them and still be clean? I love a clean dancer, clean lines and dynamics, like the difference between like a smooth groove movement, but you can still give me like a clean line and then show the difference of like that tension and then that you can flow, you know. So not always having the same energy behind your movement, but switching it up. So it's like a roller coaster. It's like, wow, up and down. You're always drawing in the audience with the control that you have
Mhm.
behind the energy that you're exuding. Boom.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, that's
A lot
great.
of
No,
dance
it's
vocab in there.
I love it. No, I love it, Nico. It's educational for me, man. I
Mm.
take something from every episode that I do, man. I learn something, and thank you, man. But and so it's poetry in motion. It's poetry in motion, right?
Boom. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. And so talk a little bit about the your experience working with Britney Spears. I know you did some choreography, right, on one of her tours. Talk a little bit about that experience, man. How was that?
Oh, super cool. There's these two great female choreographers that are like known in the business here called Shanique and Lisette. They're like a pair and they're like mentors to a lot of dancers, but they brought me on along with my best friend that I actually did the AMAs with, Todd Flanagan. They knew him pretty well, and I think they wanted to see, they saw some of my work at a showcase, and I think they were interested in seeing like what I could bring to the table. So they were like, "Yeah, Todd, and let's bring in Nico." So I assisted them in creating for their spot on the Britney Spears Femme Fatale tour, and it was this song called "How I Roll." Very like old school, like just cheesy, fun dancing. There was a car that was going to be brought out. We had to move her from some speakers and stuff like that. So yeah, that was a really cool experience having to like, oh my god, I was like, holy shit, like they want me to help them create for a Britney Spears show. Like that's insane. So I was very much excited and yeah, I try to help out as much as I can. Ended up giving some movement. My friend, he got a whole section where she was like doing a solo, and I helped out with doing like a breakdown. So it was just one song, but that one song for me, like I was like, the fact that I got to do that and put her on my resume, it was great. Now, the time that she was working on this show, like the background of it, she had recently come out of like her crazy shaving the head era.
Yeah.
And being a work study at Millennium, we got to see how hectic all that was because she used to call Millennium and say, like, can I get a room? And the owner was like, of course you can. But the paparazzi is following her everywhere.
Mm.
There's even helicopters like following her every move. So she would come in. I think I seen her come into the studio either to dance on her own to like music and or like she wanted to teach kids. Like she was like, give me a class of kids. And they did. They got a class of kids and she was able to like teach a dance class to kids. But um after all of that, I saw how like hectic it was. I literally didn't I can't say I worked with her. I worked for her because she we came in, we worked with the dancers and an assistant. And once the whole thing was done, she came in to watch it, was like by my side. I pressed play. She got to see everything that we choreographed and she goes, I love it, and left. And I think she worked that way with a lot of choreographers that time. She came back in to learn her movement through the assistant that was her stand-in at the time. So I think it was the way, like either her way or like her people's way to kind of not have her, I don't know, involved with so many people and just to kind of keep her a little bit more like protected, you know?
Gotcha. Yeah.
It was cool, but at the same time, it was weird. It was just weird, like that was the way that we were working without her, and we wouldn't see her do it until she did the show. So,
Oh wow. Okay. So you didn't really get to interact with her and have
yeah,
conversations
no,
with
no.
her and per se.
But
Mm,
I know a lot of friends that have worked with her, and even on that tour, some of my good friends were dancing for her, and I was like, I'm over here choreographing. So
yeah.
it's really cool to work together in that aspect, you know. But literally, they only know her part of the time because she keeps herself secluded, and her team probably tries to keep it separated as well, you know.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
It was
No.
a weird time for her, and I think it's still kind of like a weird time. But the fact that I'm like, no, my choreography is on one of her tours. I'm like very proud of that. I got that opportunity.
Which tour was that again, Nico?
Femme Fatale.
Femme
It's like before the circus one. Yeah,
So 2010, 2011, 2012.
yeah. I think so. Yeah, it was close enough from the Pink performance. Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. You know what fascinates me about dancers, Nico, is how quickly they can grasp or memorize a number, right, or a routine. I mean, you have to be able to do that, right?
Mhm.
In auditions, and you got to pick it up like that, right? Is that something that's critical when?
Yeah, I mean, that's a skill set that you have to train in. You have to like, it's like a muscle memory. Like you have to like train that like any other muscle, that memory, you know, retaining choreography, and getting better at it is just something that you have to practice. You have to constantly um, practice that little skill set, or else you might lose it.
No doubt, no doubt. It's kind of like an act. I mean, actor maybe an actor remembering his lines or something like that. You know, it up. Um, Nico, what's the greatest compliment, or maybe one of the greatest compliments you've received, or the greatest compliment that you received in regards to your um, choreography?
I would say that it feels natural, that it just makes sense.
Uh,
I feel like my I never try to force anything with my choreo. Like I want it to feel good, you know.
mhm.
So if someone comes at me and says like, "Oh yeah, your stuff makes sense. It feels good, and it just it transitions so well." Even though some people are like, "Your weight changes are crazy," but they're like, "Oh, I love that they have this little light bulb of like, oh, this feels like it's supposed to go together." I love that. I love that because I want them to feel like, yeah, this is how it's supposed to move. This is natural and it connects very well. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, I saw your Christmas production that you just did in this past Christmas in December, and um, I think you had about, I want to say at least 20 dancers, right? As part of that production.
Well, are you talking about the Christina one?
The one with it's Christmas time.
Yeah, that I reposted that because I had that on my YouTube, and
Oh,
it's like one of my oldest Christmas productions because
oh,
I like to like do things. I'm very like festive when it comes to like seasons or like different holidays. I like to do something for like Christmas or like Pride or like yeah, anything like fun. So I decided upon myself to do like this little Christmas video on my own because I love the song. So I got like 20 dancers involved. We did like 3 rehearsals. Each one was like 2.5 hours. And I just split it up. I just like was like, okay, you can make it to this. You're gonna do this section. Okay, this rehearsal we're gonna do this section. You can make it to this. Okay, then you're in this section because I think when it comes down to schedules, like availability is the hardest thing when it comes to rehearsals. It's like who's available, who wants to do this when I'm not paying you. You know, I'm not paying you. This is just like a passion project, but it's gonna be online, and I want it to be like almost like a calling card, like almost like my like promotion, my marketing for like this is what I can give you as a production, as a video. Like I do choreography, we can do costumes, and like I'll do it on my own just so it's out there in the YouTube world, you know. And I love that Christina song. And of course, I'm like a huge Christina Mariah fan, so I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Thank you, thank you. That was a long, long time ago. I've recently done like probably two other Christmas videos with Millennium, which Millennium Dance Complex Studio hired me to do because I feel like they caught on to like I love doing like all these production videos. So we did 2 other Christmas videos through that studio afterwards. Maybe that first video got them, and I was like, dang, like they see that I could do it. I do it once, and then they call me again, and I was like, great.
No doubt, man, no doubt. Nico, you've come a long way, man. You've come a long way. At this point in your career, I mean, what's next for you, man? What are some, some future, some goals that you have set for yourself still that you want to accomplish as a performer? I know I was listening to that podcast you did with Opinion with your cousins. You were mentioning a few things that you want to do, and one thing that really caught my attention was um, the escape room. It's kind of a thing. It's not an escape room. It's a variation of that. It's in New York City, and where and you were describing it on that episode, and I was going to ask you to kind of re-explain it to refresh my memory. And it's a thing where you could follow, and you go into a hotel room, right? The setting's a hotel room, and there's different actors, different characters, right? And you can follow one. You can choose which one you want to follow, right? And something like that. Can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit? Just kind of refresh my memory. It sounded so cool.
It's a whole building. It's not even
Yes.
a hotel room. It's like a building that has different floors, and it's called Sleep No More. And you wear a mask, and there's actors inside that don't talk, but you're able to follow any actor you want, and it takes you through this whole story. And I think it's a story of like Macbeth. Some people might be like, no, it's not, but whatever. I think it's like the story of Macbeth, and like the witches, and like this whole like ending dining room scene where they're like in slow motion. It's so good. It's kind of crazy. Like I go when I'm drunk, and I love it. And it's just like, wow, every single time is a different experience. And going to that, and going to like set, I love escape rooms. I love
Yeah.
doing the puzzles, and like you open up a different room. And I thought to myself, like, what if we kind of put this all together where it's dance and production, and it's also like the audience interacts to get themselves through this production, but there's a little Cirque du Soleil involved. There's music, there's performances, there's dancers, there's actors. It's more elaborate, right? Of course, it's going to take more money or whatever, but I'm just like, that is the dream. Like, I want this, like, escape room, interactive, get through. And sometimes you don't always go through all the rooms. So everyone's like, oh, we didn't make it that far, but did you get to this room? No, but you got to go again to get to this room. You see what I'm saying? That's the marketing behind it. It's like you sometimes might not get through it. So you got to pay again to come back and get to the next room.
Oh, I got
It's a whole nother performance and thing, and it's interactive, and you help solve the problem and like get Dorothy's shoes. Cinderella lost her slipper. Like, let's get the prince, but like get through the bushes, and the Queen of Hearts is gonna kill you. But how many queens do you need to be the royal flash? Like, you know, you gotta solve it.
you. Yeah, that's
Someone's gonna steal my idea now.
yeah. I know. Don't give away too much.
But I mean that takes like contractors, that takes money, and I'm just like, maybe one of these days I'm just gonna fucking take out a loan and be like, let's fucking do it in downtown LA in a warehouse, and we're gonna blow this shit up. Like I want to do it. I want to do a Christmas theme thing with a forest, candy canes, a little like scary Christmas thing, and you have to go through it. Like, you know, you got to make it interactive nowadays, and you got to make it so like people share it on their social media because
Hmm.
people want an experience. People want an experience that they want to share that they don't have. And when they see it, they're like, oh, I haven't been there yet. We got to go. And I have to share that on my social media.
Yeah,
Because then people, I feel validated that I went there, you know?
no doubt, no
Yeah.
doubt. Yeah. So
And
that's
my one what's my one little like thing that I have that I would want to do in the future for sure. But I'm not there yet. And it's just an idea. But
yeah.
I keep putting it out there trying to manifest it.
Oh yeah, of course. No, but you know what, man? I mean, I wouldn't doubt your ability to make that come to fruition, man, based on everything you accomplished. And anything dance related though that you want to kind of still want to
Oh,
accomplish or
I want to choreograph for Broadway, choreograph for
mm,
commercials, choreograph for music videos and movies. Like I don't know. I do still love. I work with a lot of artists, especially like LGBT artists for their like shows for like the Pride festivals, and it just makes me happy that they have this whole like production that they can put forward and like they present their music with.
uh-huh.
Um, I love working with artists and making them feel comfortable and confident in their performances. But I also feel like I want to work on the big scale. I want to do production. I want to do like I want to direct, and I want to do Broadway. I'm like so ready for Broadway once it
And
opens. But I don't live in New York, but I've actually did a little mini musical for Lin Manuel and Dwayne the Rock Johnson for their like fake musical after they finished with Moana. We did like this little fake thing with the Rock's company. I don't know how they found me. They found me through somebody, maybe my assistant, and I was able to do like 6 numbers for them, like fake musical, but that was super fun. So I'm
oh,
ready to do like so like I work fast. I know like once I get the music and they tell me the direction, like I'm ready. I want to work so bad, and like I've been through through the I don't know through the woods to like know like what I gotta do, be prepared and show up and like let's go. You know, I think being prepared is like the best part. Like that's gonna make you successful because once you show up, you're just like, I'm ready for anything.
yeah, right. And that just gives you a just I don't know, a level of confidence, man. When you know you got your shit down, you're ready, you're just
Yeah,
let's go. Yeah, there's no hesitation. Um, but so New York
I felt
might be
like I talked.
man. What's that?
What?
I
Oh,
was
I felt like I talked a lot right there.
no,
I
no,
hate
no,
talking.
man.
I hate talking about myself. So like I have to have a little drink because I'm like I'm
Yeah,
otherwise I'm gonna like it.
I feel you. I feel you, Nico. Whenever I do interviews, when I'm on the other side, on the other chair, I feel funny. I feel weird, and so I get it. I get it, man. But I was gonna say, is New York City might be the next move. Then I mean, who knows?
I've been there. I've been there. I like the grind and the hustle and the talent and the inspiration. I don't like the public transportation. I can't do that. I like hopping in my car and just like going to my destination with just being like by myself. Cause I'm like, I don't like the whole aspect of like I'm trying to get to work and your crazy homeless person is like in my ear and threatening me and now you switched up my whole vibe for the day.
Oh,
And I've talked to like plenty of New Yorkers about this. One of my best friends, Candace Brown, lives in LA. And I'm like, you're just always on your guard. Like you're just like you have that energy of like always ready to go and defend yourself. And I'm like, I'm not about that. Like that takes too much of my energy. And
I get it.
it's really congested in New York.
Yeah.
I I'm okay in California. And the weather is better here.
Oh yeah.
And they'll tell you that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
W-
No.
Winters in New York, oh my God,
I, I
horrendous, horrendous.
I've
So
been. Yeah. I've
we're very lucky to be here, but we pay for it. We pay for it.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I've been in New York City one time, Nico, and it was in December, right? And so it was in the winter, obviously, and yeah, it was cold. I mean, I had a blast, and but yeah, you hit it on the head. It's yeah, it's a different vibe, right? Obviously, it's a different town, it's a different world altogether.
Yeah. It's
The,
like I already have to deal with that like that aggressiveness and the competition here, but over there it's a whole nother level. It's very like do or die. But that's
yeah,
why a lot of people move from New York to be in the like the dancing here and to like audition and choreograph. And they do very well because they have that mentality of already of like, oh, I'm gonna fucking kill this and I'm gonna do this no matter what, you know?
mhm.
So that instinct kind of drives you and it kind of gives you a little level up above the rest. So
Wow.
and
See,
it comes down to just like living in where you do, you know? So
Nico, I just had in that moment you just said that, wow, because I do this podcasting stuff, right? And that's the attitude you got to have, man. I'm gonna fucking succeed. That's it. Bottom line. There's no plan B. There's no alternative. It's not an option. That's it. Wow. Well,
sometimes it's like it's good to have all these different like outlets and avenues that you can
for sure.
make income from, but you never know what can come from putting 110% in that one lane that you're truly passionate about. You never know because once you find that lane and you succeed in that, then we can come back to all the other ones. You know, we can do all the other things that we love to do. Like I love to flip furniture. I love to paint. I love to like interior design. I like to like I'm looking into real estate. Like I love that shit too. But what makes me whole, what makes me feel like I have purpose is teaching. It's dance. It's like when I could be in the worst of moods, but when I get in the classroom, I'm like, this is where I belong. And this is where I feel whole, you know? So sometimes you gotta tell yourself like, let's try this like give it 100% to see what comes out of it. Because if you spread yourself too thin, you never know. You never know.
That's it, man. That's it. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nico, last question for you, man. I like to ask all my guests this one question. Who are some, maybe one or two or three individuals that have inspired you that you would love to sit down and have dinner with, man? It could be anyone. It could be celebrity, it could be personal friend, it could be family, whatever.
I would love to have dinner with Oprah Winfrey.
Okay.
Jennifer Lopez, Lin-Manuel, Barack Obama. So far, they're all like minorities, right? people, of color, people of color that like inspired me. Christina Aguilera.
Mm.
Yeah, people that well, I actually met Paula Abdul, but I would love to have dinner with her as well. Pick her brain. Yeah, just the people that I grew up like being inspired by, and just not even to like give me information for my life. I'm just like, let's have a good dinner, and I want to say thank you for inspiring me, because at the end of the day, it's not what they're going to tell you that changes your life. It's your actions that are going to change your life.
No doubt, man. No, that's a great list, phenomenal. Who's the Lin? Did you say Lin-Manuel?
Oh yeah, Lin-Manuel is the one that created In the Heights Broadway musical, and he's also Hamilton. He created Hamilton. He was in the new Mary Poppins. He also wrote the music in Moana, like a Latino from New York. That I'm just like, if you're Latino and you're out there, I praise you, because when I came up, there wasn't a lot of Latinos that I felt like I could see myself, doing that, So now I'm just like, I look for it. And whenever there's a Latino girl, Latino boy in my class, I'm like, hey, you could do this. You could do this, because I see myself in their shoes, and I want to give that inspiration, and hopefully they know that they can do it.
No doubt, man. Nico, man, it's been a pleasure having you come on and getting to know you better. I want to thank you before you leave, man. Where can the people follow you? Where can they connect with you? You want to go ahead and plug your social media or websites, anything like that?
Yeah, follow me at Nico _O'Connor, and that's O'Connor with a O-R. Nico is like, soy Nico, yeah. And then O'Connor is like great grandfather is from Ireland, and he was in the military, made his way down to Nicaragua. That's how I got the last name. So follow me at Nico _O'Connor, and that's you can find me Nico O'Connor on YouTube and Nico O'Connor on like Facebook. I have a lot of YouTube videos up that a lot of people probably don't know I have, but yes, you can find me there.
There it is. There it is. I wish you nothing but the best, Nico. You're always welcome back here. I can't wait to see what's next for you, man. I honestly can't wait. So I'll be checking you. I'll be following.
I appreciate you having me, and I wish you the best of luck in all your future endeavors, and I hope you just blow up so we blow up together. Okay, brother?
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Thank you so much, Nico. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. My man, Nico O'Connor, choreographer, dance instructor extraordinaire. Go follow him. Go watch his videos. Go learn. He is phenomenal. You'll watch his videos and you're just gonna be blown away. So just that's the bottom line. But I am so glad that you're here watching with us, listening. Again, subscribe to Profile Pod TV on YouTube. Leave us a rate and review. Follow me on Instagram. Leave me a DM. Say hi. Tell me, give me some feedback. Tell me what you like about the show or don't like about the show. Whatever. For Nico O'Connor, once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Profile Pod TV. I'm Double A, your host. We will be back next week for another splendid episode of the pod. And I can't thank you enough. It's been fun, Nico. And we'll see you soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, for Nico O'Connor, I'm Double A. We're always reminding you to take it easy.
Hey.